Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's finally the last feature that we're going to implement for this application, which is the settings feature. Let's go ahead and create this new feature. Click on Pocket Goods, File, Package. Let's call it Settings Feature. Make sure to put it under the Pocket Goods and hit Create. I'm going to set the platform as minimum iOS version 15 and the dependencies, we need Core UI as well as Core App. And let's add the dependencies in the target. Save the file, and you are good to go. If you do remember, under the Jetpack Compose application, we don't need any screen or the presentation layer for that matter, because our application is very simple and it doesn't need any dedicated screen for these settings. Let's create the protocol. Let's call it Application Settings Repository to get the real updates of the application settings, more specifically, the latest visited screen, as well as the theme, the value of dark theme or light theme. For the first function, we have to get the application settings. Next, we're going to save the application settings, and we have to provide the old settings from the app. Now let's define the needed use cases. For the return type, I'm going to copy the return type from here. And you have to do the guard statement to check if we have the repository. Otherwise, we're going to return an error, API error, missing dependencies, erased to any publisher. Otherwise, we're going to do repository and get application settings. For the other one, save application settings. With the same manner, we have to check first of all if we have a repository to deal with. Otherwise, we're going to do here, or to throw basically an error and missing dependencies. Otherwise, we're going to do here try and repository, save application settings. That's all we have for the application settings use case. Let's group all the use cases in one single structure. Let's call it application settings use cases. Now it's time to implement the domain layer under data layer. We need here instance of the database, and let's provide the public initializer. Now for the implementation of get application settings, we need first of all to check if we have the database. Otherwise, going to erase to any publisher an error. Next, we can do return and try database, stream application settings, and we have to set failure type to API error and self, and erase to any publisher. As simple as this. To save the application settings, we need first of all the database, an error return, and not to do anything at all. Next, we're going to do here try and database, insert settings entity, and we have the model to the application settings entity. On conflict, we have just to replace the old one with the new one. And we are done basically with the application settings repository implementation. Nothing complicated. Now let's define the I module. Let's provide as usual the repository implementation as well as the use cases. Let's register first of all the repository implementation and the use cases. One last thing to do, which is for testing. Let's test this particular section, application settings feature. Right now we need the memory database and the use cases. I'm going to set here basically the current screen for home screen, and let's provide the rest, aka the use cases as well as the repository. In this particular section, I would like to insert some data to test with in every single test. For the first test, we need to make sure that the get application settings use case should stream application settings. First of all, we need to make sure that we have the use cases. Otherwise, we have to fail the test. And because we are dealing with publishers, we need to set the expectation. Next, let's act by doing use cases, get application settings, and we have to observe the states. All right, in this particular section, if we have a failure, we're going to fail the test. Let's store this under cancellables. Once we're going to launch the application at first time, we won't have the application settings. Therefore, I'm gonna do here if lit app settings. In this case, we have to make our assertion that the application settings is in dark mode. Instead of seed database, I'm gonna do something like seed user. It's been used in a lot of files. Instead, I'm gonna name it something like seed user data. And another one for the application settings, and some data if you want to pass current destination or current route, which is optional. Memory database insert, and for the latest route, it should be current route. Let's rename this to latest route. And let's hoist this, if you will. And let's add here throws. Convert this to application settings entity. And instead of using the other function, which is seed user data, we need to seed application settings. Assert false is dark mode, and assert equal that we have the right latest route. I'm gonna keep it dynamic actually. Instead of this, I'm gonna add here memory database, and I'm going to arrange this is dark mode false, and latest route, it should be current screen. We need the self reference. Therefore, we have to mark it with weak self, and let's do here a guard statement because it's nullable. And after this, we have to fulfill the expectation, and we have to wait for the expectation. Let's run the test, and the test succeeded. The last test that we have to do here is we need to make sure that the use case save application settings should save application settings. As usual, we have to make sure that we have the use cases. And again, because we are dealing with publishers, we have to observe the states of the application settings or the emitted values from the stream of data. And we have to observe, as I said before, the values from the stream. Let's store those values under the array. Let's call it application settings values, which is an array. Next, we need to observe the states. We don't expect any errors here. We're going to fail the test basically. Let's add first of all store in cancellables. Let's add the observed values to the array. We have right now to act by calling use cases. Let's save some settings to the application. Let's do, for example, for is dark mode true. And for the latest route, let's do, for example, product detail screen. I'm going to arrange this. We have to fulfill the expectation when is dark mode equal true. I think it's pretty straightforward. First of all, we have to wait for the array of expectation to be fulfilled. And we need to make sure that we have the correct observed states under the observed application settings values. The value is dark mode true. At least we have some emitted values that has the dark mode equal true. With the same manner, another assertion for the latest route. Instead of is dark mode, we have to do here latest route. And it should be, instead of hard coding this, is dark mode. And here we have to do latest route. And let's come back here is dark mode. All right. That's pretty much it for the assertion. Let's go ahead and run the test. And the test succeeded. Let's try to run all tests at once. And test succeeded, which is good. I think that's pretty much it for this particular section of our tutorial. For the next video, we're going to use all the features inside the main section of our app. We're going to maintain basically the same structure that we have done under Kotlin. We're going to set the layout, we're going to add the dependency injection, and we have to prepare the application for end-to-end tests. I hope you liked the video. See you in the next one, and happy coding.